Hi there. So in this video, I'm going to be introducing you to Desmos Activity Builder. To get to this site as a teacher, you're going to type in teacher.desmos.com. And if you've never been here before, you'll sign in, set up a free account. I have mine linked to my Gmail account, so it's super simple, and that allows me to connect Desmos activities with my Google Classroom that I have for my students. So we're going to go to Custom Activities and create an activity right now using New Activity, and I will call this Intro to Desmos AB, meaning Activity Builder. And I'm going to show you in here just a few of the different components. There are quite a few. So let's design a question right now. So I'm setting up a question where students need to evaluate using substitution and the order of operations. And if I just preview the question right now, you can see that it's asking the students the question, but there's nowhere on here for students to respond. So that's something that you want to think about is like, how do you want students to respond? In this case, let's do a multiple choice, and then I can show you another option in a little bit. So we're going to do multiple choice, and I'll put the answers beneath the question, although if you want to, you can just drag the hamburger symbol, the three lines, and kind of put it off to the side if you want. In this type of question, I don't know, you could do either way. I think it looks a little bit better underneath. All right, so I've given four choices. If we go to preview, we can see what it looks like here. I think after the question, I'll just add a space just to help visually break it up a little bit. But I want to show you something in this preview that I'll fix in a second. So up in the top here, we can see, because I'm designing the activity, it gives me the option for dashboard preview. You won't get this when it's actually running with students. The dashboard preview shows you what you as the teacher will see for this student and this question if the student gets it right or wrong. So if I hit 10, I get a dot. 13 dot, 28 dot, and 30 dot. That means that I haven't told the computer what the correct answer is, and so it's saying the teacher needs to look here. So what we can do is mark 13. This is multiple choice, so just correcting it here to say that that's the correct answer, and go back and add that space that I was talking about. If I go back to preview, I've got that extra space. It looks a little bit cleaner. I can hit 10, and it's going to mark it wrong. 13, it marks it correct with a check mark. 28 and 30 both have the X. So that looks great to me. But one thing that I want to point out is that if you are doing this, below the multiple choice, it has a spot for you to mark with a checkbox, ask student to explain their answer, and I want to show you what happens when I preview this. So I go back to 10, it marks it wrong on the teacher dashboard. Again, this will not be visible at all for students to see, but they can explain what they're thinking. So like, I added 2 plus 5 plus 3. That would mean that we want to go and talk to the student and sort of straighten things out. But if I press 13, I don't get the check mark anymore. And it's not because of this response. I can even get rid of that response and I still have that dot. So we told it which one was correct, but right now the reason it's not telling us, the teacher, that it's correct is because even though 13 is correct, it doesn't know if what's typed down here is correct. So like the student could just write D, or my favorite, IDK is often written. And that doesn't really give us an indication of, you know, if that's correct or not, because the computer's not not reading the response, right? So it's just the dot means the teacher should look at the screen. That dot also happens on many other components, which I can get into later on. Let's design 2 more quick screens. For this next one, let's say to the student that we want them to find the slope of the line shown in the graph. And let's add a graph. And I'm going to actually put the message to the student right above the graph. And I want to draw a line on this graph. So I'm going to start by clicking on it. That way I can do things in that graph. And let's put the point 2, 1. And actually, well, that'll work. Let's actually do, yeah, sure. I'll do that. All right, so I've got 2 points that I'm showing, and then I'm going to put the line through it. And I'm going to make it a little bit more obvious by turning it red. All right. So if I preview, it tells the student what to do, it gives them the graph, but there's nowhere for them to respond. So just like before, think about how you want the students to respond and make sure to include that. So I don't want multiple choice this time. I want students to arrive at it themselves. Oops, not a note. Delete that. We want a math input. So if I preview, find the slope of the line shown in the graph, and then the box here. We could even add a note after all that says, type your response in the box below. And that just makes it a little bit more clear for students. And so the slope is what I'm supposed to type in here. So let's say 1/2, submit. I don't get any sort of indication on the teacher dashboard of whether this is correct or not. And again, that's because we designing the program have not said what the correct answer is. So we don't know if 1/2 is correct, the computer doesn't know if 1/2 is correct. A student could type in something like 0.1117 and submit it and still getting the dot. It's not saying, if it's correct or not. There is some computation layer that you can add, CL, which is coding, in here. And you can type in the code and get it to display if it's correct or not. You can even have feedback for the students and all sorts of other stuff. That's for another time. So we're going to duplicate this screen because the next question, I do want to change the question itself a little bit, but I want to have that same graph. So I'm just saving myself some time. I'm going to change the directions. That says complete the table below. X and Y coordinate. Put the table below by entering the X and Y coordinate for the line that is graphed. So we want not B by entering 5 different X and Y coordinates for the line that is graphed. That sounds better. And then we'll add a table and we'll give it headers of X and Y, and we'll tell it how long we want to have it. If I don't do that, preview, you can see that it's just one cell for students to type in, which would be like 1 point. And since I'm asking for 5 different points, let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we can preview this. Students are going to type their answers in here as a table. Again, it's not checking if it's correct. It's just telling you if something happened on the screen. So you don't want to assume that a dot means correct or that a dot means incorrect. It just needs more information. One quick thing that I want to say about this, even though it kind of belongs in the CL, is that if you are going to do a graph on this type of question because you want to see if the table is correct, then you're going to want in the CL to write read only true. And that tells the computer, just assume that the graph is true. Don't worry about it. Look over here for if this is correct. And that's going to be it for this video, but I hope that you found this helpful. Thank you.